Well, hey guys, Mason here, and it's December 1st. So if you're anything like us, that means you're starting to think about what it is you're going to be buying for Christmas, and maybe you've been asked for some ideas of what you want for Christmas, which is always difficult to come up with, I think. Because typically when you get to our age, if there's something that you need, you've likely already bought it. So I thought this is maybe a perfect time of year to do an ADV camping gear Christmas buying guide. That way you have an idea, or maybe get some ideas about what you might want for Christmas, and you can forward those off to your significant others and get the list going. Now, this is some of the camping gear that I use on a regular basis and has stood up really well for me. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing on the list is my tent. Now I use the MSR Elixer 2, which is a 2-person backpacking tent. And because it's a backpacking tent, it's fairly light. It weighs in at 5 pounds. It has 2 large doors and 2 good-sized vestibules for putting all your stuff in. The thing that I like about it the most is that if it's pouring rain when you get to camp, you could set this tent up by using the footprint, the poles, and putting your fly on first, and then erecting the rest of your tent in underneath. So that would be super handy in a torrential downpour. Now, luckily, that's something that we haven't had to do, but I have tried it a couple times and it is doable. It also seems to work really well regardless of the temperature. If it's hot out, I just leave one of the vestibule doors open for some ventilation, and if it's cold and you do everything up, it's actually fairly warm. It does work well, best of both worlds. It's light, it packs really small, and it's a good addition to the bike. The next thing on the list is my sleeping pad. Now I use the Klymit Insulated Static V, and I honestly cannot say enough about this sleeping pad, guys. It's not real cheap, but I'll tell you, the insulation factor on this pad is unbelievable. You put it down on the ground, lay down on it, and you're warm. No cold transfers through. It's very comfortable. You don't slide around on it. And the best part, I think, is the fact that it's stood up over at least 3 seasons of me camping on it. Now, I did manage to get it on sale, so it might be something to keep an eye out for, but I can highly recommend this sleeping pad. Very comfortable, it packs very small, it weighs very little, and I can highly recommend it. So here's the first real budget item on my list, and that's a Besteam warm and cool weather sleeping bag. I'm gonna be honest, I bought this for 2 reasons. The first one being its price. It is super cheap. Right now, up here, it's going for $30 Canadian. The other reason I bought it was because it packs super small and it's not a mummy bag. So this is a rectangle bag that packs down to like 5 inches by 7 inches. It's just a crazy tiny little thing. It takes up very little room in the pack. It's absolutely fantastic, and it has worked for me for most of our camping outings. Now in the spring and fall, I do bring a Sea to Summit Thermolite Reactor sleeping bag liner, and by putting it inside the sleeping bag, it adds several degrees of warmth to the sleeping bag. Also in the summer when it's warm, I'll quite often put my sleeping pad inside the Sea to Summit sleeping bag liner and sleep on it just like an air mattress with a sheet, and put my sleeping bag over me as a blanket. Works really well. You can kick it off in the middle of the night if you're getting too warm. So the 3 items together, the pad, that tiny sleeping bag, and the super small Sea to Summit sleeping bag liner, as a trio, works excellent together. So I've had my MSR Whisperlight International stove for at least 25 years now. And I know that there's a lot of other stoves on the market, and a lot of different ways guys carry their fuel, and the stoves can get quite small if you use the cans. But the reason why I've stuck with my MSR Whisperlight is because my fuel bottles can double as gasoline bottles. Because it's a multi-fuel stove and it can burn almost anything, quite often if we know we're headed somewhere where we're going to be possibly short on fuel, or we know that Melon might struggle because of his small fuel capacity, I just switch out from camp fuel to gasoline in all the canisters, and we have fuel to cook and fuel to ride. So it works really well. It's seriously something that you should have a look at if you do a lot of camping in remote places. I use the GSI Pinnacle Soloist, and I have for a couple years now. And there's a couple features that I actually really like about it. Now I understand that a pot set is a pot set, but This one works well because not only do you get the pot, but inside you get an extra cup, and it all comes in a bag that's waterproof that you can use to carry water to do washing up. We use it quite often doing the dishes around camp. And then it all packs back up small. I can store extra stuff inside. I keep my salt and pepper and my instant coffee all inside the same pot and ready to go. Now, I did throw away the little spork thing. I don't bother much with that. But the GSI Pinnacle Soloist works really well as a cook set. So the headlamp that I use is the Petzl Reactik headlamp. There's a couple main reasons why I picked it. The first one being that I really wanted something that was USB chargeable. That allows me to charge on the road as we're riding. If we're out for a multi-day, I don't have to carry extra batteries. So that really was the main thing I was looking for when I purchased my headlamp. The next thing I was after was something that had a long lifespan, and this has multiple settings where you can use its full brightness, or it can be throttled back and last a lot longer, which works really well. And the other thing I like about it is it has a red light setting that works awesome around camp, especially if you don't want to annoy the people that you're with and you just need a little bit of light to see what you're cooking or that sort of thing. So it was a little bit extra money, but well worth it. I've had it now over 4 years, hasn't given me any trouble, and I really do not miss being in the bush and running out of battery. LM1 always says if you ever need anything torture tested, just give it to me and I'll put it through its paces. And you may be onto something there. I am fairly hard on my gear. I use it to its full extent, that's for sure. And this stuff has all stood up really well and been very handy to have in the kit. Hopefully that gives you guys some ideas of stuff to put on your Christmas list. I know Mrs. Mason's looking for some, so I'm looking for ideas too. For links to this stuff and most of the other things that I have bolted to the KLR, head on over to the website, masonsadv.com, and click the My Gear tab. Thanks for watching, guys. Mind how you go, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.
Hey guys, if you liked that video, hit the thumbs up button for us. It goes a long way towards helping out the channel. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button in the upper corner for new videos every Sunday. Be glad to have you along for the ride.